Hi everyone, and welcome back to Off Brand Bubbly. Today we're going to be doing a little different video format because I want this video to be more casual and relaxed, and it's a Sunday. I think a long form video would be a fun way to spend time with you guys. Recently I have had two relationships in my life kind of peter out, one friendship and one romantic relationship. The result of which is that I've been navigating through a lot of grief in this past few months, and I thought that things that I've learned from the experience would help you guys as well. So I have my notebook here, and I've created a little list of things that have helped me to emotionally walk through the breakup and to become more optimistic and hopeful of the future. And I do think there's a tendency to think of breakup just in the context of romantic relationships, but when anyone leaves your life, whether it be a job, a friendship, or a partner, you do still need to work through that grieving process, because you're not just grieving the loss of the person, but you're also grieving the loss of the dream of the future you had with them. So let's get started. Let's keep it on a positive note. Everything I have here is hopefully going to help you, live a better life after a traumatic event called a breakup. So the first thing I have is to turn the focus off of the other person and back onto yourself. A lot of people think that you can just focus on yourself after a breakup and that kind of goes away. And in a sense that's true, but it doesn't really resonate with me. What resonates more with me is kind of taking the spotlight of my attention and focusing it back on myself. It's kind of the same thing, but the idea of this spotlight of attention helps me to actually redirect my energy. So in the midst of a breakup, you're usually emotionally and mentally consumed with thoughts of the other person, what they're thinking, what happened on their end emotionally of the breakup, and how maybe you could have acted differently. But all of those thoughts are other focused. They're projected onto the relationship and the other person. I think that it helps me to move on if I said take that, look at myself and think, okay, what was my role in this relationship? What did I do that I liked? What did I do that I didn't like? And how can I, moving forward, help to build a life of happiness and joy now that it's no longer part of my future to be with this other person? That's kind of my number one. And I do really like to focus on things that make me happy, and that always comes back to things that I liked when I was a child. Simple things like reading books, going for walks in the park, spending time with friends and family and your support network, and also animals, giving back through volunteer, all things that help build a beautiful life for myself, regardless of whether or not there's someone in my life. And I find the more I work to create a life that brings me joy and happiness, the easier it is to let go of people and situations that don't serve me, so I can still go off to live Emily's glorious fun life. Okay, now this is a little bit of a band-aid solution, especially if you're in the beginning stages of a breakup, because you're obviously going through turmoil. So I do have to force myself a lot to do things that make me happy initially, because it helps me to step quicker through the stages of grief if I'm doing things that help bring about a higher state of being, or a higher vibe state as some of the people like to call it. So even if I don't want to, say, go to the gym, get my hair done, put my makeup on, wear a cute outfit, I still force myself to do these things because they will elevate my mood, even if just a bit, and that will make me more optimistic moving through the deeper stages of grief and the emotional healing that has to get done. So now that we've gotten through that, we probably need to think about the larger psychological things you have to combat with when going through a breakup, mainly being walking through grief, grieving the loss of the person. Sorry, my hair is sticking to my face. All right, better. So walking through the stages of grief, grieving the loss of the person and the future you expected to have with them. Depending on where you look, there's a few different ones, but I mainly think of this as denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then finally acceptance. And whether or not you experience these extremely deeply or certain phases come into your body and then flow out, I do believe you need to still walk through every phase. If you acknowledge that this is part of the grieving process, you can move yourself through it, I think, a little faster, acknowledging that I may feel depressed and sad right now, but this is just a stage and it is just a feeling, and feelings change. Next day, I might feel closer to acceptance than I feel today. So acknowledging the stages of these painful emotions are part of the process. It really helps me move through things faster than I would have if I was just completely glossing over my emotions and kind of forcing them to be better and be healed. I do also recommend journaling about the different stages to kind of sit in with your thoughts. I talk about journaling a lot because it helps me, but if you prefer to talk to someone, that also can help a lot of people. I never responded to talk therapy as much as some of my friends do, but maybe that's because my mom and I talk in depth about the gravity of our feelings on a daily basis. So when you have a live-in therapist, there's less of a need to go to an outside source. Anyways, I tend to find the hardest of the 4 stages to be the depression stage, because when I get in a glum mood, I really can marinate in my sadness, which is not a healthy state for me to be in, which is why I started off this video with step 1, which was turning the focus on yourself and doing your best to make yourself happy. Because if I'm doing the things that I know bring me joy when I'm emotionally stable and secure, it helps pull me out of the stage of depression faster than if I was wallowing and sad and crying all the time. There is space and time for you to cry, but just living in that state for longer than necessary, I don't think is healthy. I have noticed recently that there's kind of a wave of the emotions I feel. So some days I feel like I'm much farther past emotionally the breakup, and I kind of think I may be further in the healing process than I actually am. And then I'll get frustrated that I have some of these emotions of denial or bargaining or depression come up again. And I just want to reiterate for you guys that it is a process, and every time you can acknowledge and work through these emotions and bring yourself back up to a more positive state, faster and faster as time goes on, you are still healing through the process. Just because one day you feel like you've stepped back emotionally doesn't mean that's necessarily the case. You could still be making progress. Sometimes these emotions just re-arise in our body and we have to contend with them again, even if we thought it's something we've moved past. Now on to my favorite topic for self-reflection, self-growth, and personal development, and that is journaling. So I don't know about you guys, but I write my thoughts, feelings, desires, my to-do lists, and my wishes, prayers, all in my little journal. This one is nearly filled up. I've had it for about a month. I like to journal whenever I'm in the mood, honestly, but most regularly at night because I have trouble sleeping sometimes, so that whirlwind of emotions can become cyclical in my mind, and it helps me to pull that conversation out of my head, to put it down on paper, to find more ease in my body. In the context of a breakup, some lovely some lovely prompts that can help you guys are to first think about the times in this relationship where you are proud of how you acted. in the midst of a breakup, you can think, oh, I did everything wrong, but that may not be the case. And most often for me, I notice as I grow older and mature, I'm learning to embody better communication skills, better emotional intelligence skills, and actually being proud of how I've acted in relationships that sometimes didn't even work out as I thought they would. And taking time to kind of pat myself on the back, give myself a gold star for the times where I communicated my boundaries and my needs, and I showed up for someone else, and the woman I was in that relationship makes me optimistic that I'm still growing and becoming a better person. So first of all, what did I do that I was proud of? And after that, of course, there's times where you weren't your best self, so still take time to acknowledge how you could have grown. Take time to write down, I was not my best self when da 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 da, or I wish I acted differently in these few scenarios, or my highest self would have responded to this scenario in these few ways. That's really nice because that directly pinpoints how you can grow for the next relationship. And you'll be living with yourself your whole life, so the better you can become at relationships with yourself and others, I think will benefit you for, your whole life to come. All right, so next would be what did you like about this person? And then what you did not like about this person. It could be the fact that they were, the best relationship that you've ever had. And it could be the fact that they weren't, and they weren't showing up for you in ways that you needed. Either way, it's good to reflect on because no one's perfect. And when someone pulls out of our lives, you could think, oh, they were perfect for me. They were really well suited for me. Yeah. But if they were a good fit for your life, they would still be in your life. There are reasons they're not now, even if they're not communicating them to you. So if you can do a little reflection to see how the other person was not a good fit for you through acknowledging your own emotional state and level of emotional maturity at the time, or level of self-consciousness at the time, compared to that person's capacity for holding space for a relationship, along with their lifestyle and their habits and how that complemented or hurted your life. Big fan, because that takes a lot of the self-blame off of you, which that could be a me thing, truthfully, but I am like the firstborn perfectionist, and this is something I constantly work through to kind of alleviate the blame off myself, because when something falls apart, it is not just your fault. There's two people in the relationship, and you have your piece to own, but they also have theirs. Don't let all of the hurt and self-flagellation get you down. Both parties had things to own, and someone who's a good complement for your life will fit into it well, and they'll stay as long as you're a vibrational match for each other. And what I mean by that is that your life, your emotional state, and your sense of well-being complement this other person. If you do not complement this other person, you'll just kind of go your separate ways, and sometimes that's hard, and sometimes that's just what has to happen in order for you to both live your best life. Don't be too hard on yourself, it takes two. Okay, the last thing I have for you is a really fun one for me. It is date the world. You can obviously step right into dating if that's what you want. Of course, that is what my mother suggested literally 2 days after I had a breakup. It's why I asked you to go ice skating. Go ice skating, have fun, don't wallow in your room. Now, the conclusion to that date was I had a okay time. I kind of enjoyed skating around the pond for a little bit. I don't see things really going that far with the other person, but it helped my state of mind to just kind of get out of my own head and have fun for a night, and again, like, take the focus of attention off of the other person and off of the breakup, and to do something to uplift my mood. That's in the context of dating, but when I say date the world, I don't just mean romantic relationships. I mean, go make new friends, go flirt with people out in the real world, smile, give compliments, make conversation with people when you're out and about, and open your field to the possibility of bringing other things into your life. Because your life does not revolve around this one situation. There are a lot of other components to your life that can bring you joy and happiness, and you may find that if a friend leaves your life, the universe will bring in 2 other friends who are a better complement for you. So dating the world, putting your best foot forward, being in the mindset of receptivity to experience will help you to just be a happier person and to bring more love into your life, if it's, friends, new hobbies, or relationships. Some ways that I do this: I look cute. We don't just dress for men, we dress for women. Because you know who compliments me most when I'm out and about? Is women. I have met so many friends just because I'm wearing something cute and they happen to talk to me in a coffee shop and compliment me. I was in a yoga class one day, I had this adorable new crop top on, and one of my friends, she wasn't my friend at the time, but she became to be my friend. She came over and complimented me, asked me where my outfit was from, and since then we've been great pals. And I've had women compliment my handbags when I was at coffee shops, and just today one of the girls coming out of yoga compliments me on my hair, and it's just a little impetus to start conversation. And if you're open to having a conversation with someone else, you don't know where that could go. So put your best foot forward, look cute, be receptive to people who talk to you when you're out in the world, and then you'll meet people literally everywhere. Oh, go do more fun things by yourself. Go have fun, go do something exciting. Don't wait around for your friends to do stuff. If there's something you want to do that you think would be fun, go off and do it. You don't need to, again, stay wallowing. Make being in your breakup stage time where you get to figure out how to live your best life and do new fun things that would bring you joy and put you in scenarios where you could meet other people. The last thing I do is I just flirt with everyone. I'm not sexual with everyone, but I smile with everyone, I make cute eyes, I compliment other women while I'm out, and I just emotionally try to be open and receptive and approachable, so that if someone does want to talk to me, I'm not quite so intimidating. So definitely try that, because again, you don't know who you might meet, and it really just lifts your day when you have random conversations with strangers out in the world, and people are not as scary as you think. I like to operate under the assumption that everyone's a little lonely and wants more friends in their life. So if I have the courage to talk to someone or just be a kind face in their day, they're usually very receptive to it. Flirt with everyone, make friends, and do your best to just live your best life and cultivate happiness in light of times of grief and sorrow, because feelings change, and not to sound like a cliche, but this too shall pass, and hopefully on the other side, you'll be a better, happier, lighter version of yourself. Well, that's all I have today. I hope that you liked this new format. It was so much easier for me to make and a lot more fun, and I hope that comes across on camera. Have a great day, guys, and just, flirt with everyone.